And welcome to Pop Culture Investigations with me, Dr. Luke Deckard. I have a special guest with me. I have Sam Holland, who's back like a heart attack, back like smack. I don't know. Who's back to talk about some stuff. Um, yeah, tonight's show is what are we doing, Sam? We're just chatting shit about things, award season predictions, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, other things that strike our fancy in the world
Yeah,
of
but
pop culture.
basically I wanted to talk to you about Saltburn, and that's led on to everything else.
Yes, we will also be squeezing a little bit of extra salt into tonight's episode, because unfortunately Sam missed the episode where me and another friend, Nadia, broke down Saltburn quite uh, intricately, I would say. It was good fun, but I look forward to getting a few more opinions on that and other things because it's been a fun season for drama and things like that within the pop culture entertainment industry, and I like a bit of drama. And I don't know about you. I don't really care that much, but like a good gossip column, like a good car crash, I do like to just dive in and be like, "Oh, what the shit's going on?" You know?
Yeah, a bit of gossip, especially in the film world, because I think the film world is just fascinating. And also
Right.
I can slag off the film world because I'm not in it, but I can't slag off the book world. So that gives like ample opportunity for having some opinions to share.
You can't slag it off until your book gets optioned, by Netflix or something, and then you gotta be quiet, right? Is that
Then
how
I'm
it
gonna
works?
be quiet. But yeah, none of the fuckers have optioned me yet, so I can be as rude as I like.
Exactly. See, whereas I'm just like making like no friends anywhere because I'm like, this book is shit. This author's a hack. This film is shit. This actor's a hack. Where I'm just like, I'm burning all my bridges. I'm burning all
Yeah,
my bridges.
yeah, why not? No, I'm
Why?
always gonna be nice about authors, but generally I'm nice about films as well, but I have a few opinions, so yeah, in that
Yeah,
area.
yeah, yeah. I think it's fun. It's interesting actually because there was a on Twitter, I can't remember his name. I believe he might have been one of the writers for X-Men First Class. I think that's why I know him, or know of him. He mentioned on Twitter the other day something along the lines of he doesn't like it when actors on like press junkets trash or slag off previous productions that they've been on, and basically is like, yes, I'm basically saying that they need to just lie their way through it and say everything was great and hunky dory and that they loved it. What's your take on that? Because I kind of don't agree with that idea.
I think I mean, so realistically, once they've done the initial press tour and
Yeah,
they've talked about the film and they've, lied their way through that, realistically, no one or very few people are gonna go back and say, "The obscure X-Men film that you made back in 2024, what's your view on that?"
yeah,
Are they?
yeah.
So they're
Well, that's the thing. I
probably
don't know. I mean, I
they're
don't know because
probably
obviously he's
feeling
talking
it.
about people who were slagging off previous films on current press junkets. So it's like, oh, what was it like working on this film? And or they're like, oh, I hated that, or I like. So it clearly happens. Um,
I think it is a little bit, poor. Bad form
is it though?
if we're going to go proper British, it's bad form. Well, because,
Bad.
you were there, you did a job, you turned up, and you were paid for it, or they were paid for it, so just suck it up and do your job. I mean,
Was he
the
frank?
thing is there are people out there who love those films. So
Sure.
even an absolutely terrible X-Men movie, there will be somebody out there that will absolutely adore it and will love the actor
Yes.
because of it. So
Well,
you
there
have
are
to
no terrible X-Men movies. Let me just say that. Just let me get that out of the way. No, I'm kidding.
well,
There are a couple. There are a
let me
couple.
give you an example. So Jacob Elordi is well known. I say I'm even on to Jacob
You're
Elordi,
go
and it's
on,
only
go
from
on, go on.
X-Men.
You've been dying
Hurrah!
to talk about this
Um,
motherfucker.
he is well known for slagging off the, Kissing Booth films, which is
Yes,
where he
they were
started out.
terrible.
And to be fair, they are absolutely terrible, but there are a whole load of people out there who absolutely love them and found him and love him
Mm.
because of those films.
Yes. Yes,
So
yes, yes.
be not be nice, and they're not that bad. I mean, they're pretty
Oh, they're
bad.
pretty.
But
I mean, they're pretty terrible. They're pretty terrible. I had to sit through them. Claire made me watch like one or two of them, and I was not amused. One was not
no,
amused.
there's 3, and I've watched them twice. So
Oh jeez. Oh
I'm
jeez.
talking from a place of real authority here. Uh,
Seriously, you are. Holy shit. Holy shit.
yeah, oh yeah.
God. I
When
mean,
I
like, I
research, I
guess
do a deep dive.
I guess I sort of get it, but then I also sort of like, but there are times where we've all worked for places and worked in jobs that we've hated. And are we just meant to just like kind of pretend like part of me is like, yeah, just pretend because like the public doesn't need to know. I mean, there's been many, many times I've wanted to slag off previous companies or people I've worked for and with in the past, and I haven't done it. But it is sometimes hard to not do that. But sometimes you work for someone, it's like it was a terrible place to work, and you're just like, yeah, that job was awful. And like, is it bad to say? Do we need to pretend like we can't say it though? That's what's interesting to me.
If you're in the public eye, I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think if you worked somewhere and it was terrible, then, it's up to you what you
Yeah.
say about them. But I think if you're in the public eye and you're affecting somebody else's view of that, I think
Yeah.
you should just be quiet and suck it up.
Sure. Well, Frank agrees with you. He says people love those movies. Actors need to shush up. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. And
I mean,
and
there
he's
are so
go
there
on,
are
go on.
movies out there that are bad, but people love because they're bad. I mean, there's loads of
Oh god.
movies that I'll watch that I think, "Oh my god, they're absolutely terrible," but I love
Yeah.
them. I mean, what's that, what is the shooter movie that's got Dwayne Johnson in it, and it's based on a, video game? It begins with D. I wanna say June, but it's not June. Doom.
Doom.
Doom?
Oh right. Wow, that's a deep cut.
Doom.
Like
It's got Dwayne Johnson in it and Karl Urban, and it was terrible, absolutely shite from start to finish, but I love it. If it's ever on, I will watch it just because it's absolutely terrible.
it's fair enough. I mean, I've been watching some old Godzilla movies lately. The Millennium series movies, and that's they've been some of them have been fun, others have been absolute garbage. But they're all a level of B movie. None of them are like great movie, but they've all been a level of B movie that has either been so bad it's good or so bad it's cringe. So I do get it. I do get liking a bad movie and
Yeah,
stuff.
it
And
is Doom. I
yes,
was just
Doom.
gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Frank is confirmed. Yeah, also says that
it's
he
Doom.
also says apparently I am in the public eye. Apparently. So I guess I shouldn't slag off that company that I worked for who were fucking CUNTs. Um
We all have them.
so I guess I won't do that. He also says King Kong lives and Linda Hamilton. He loves King Kong lives and Linda Hamilton hates it. I don't think I've ever seen King Kong lives. Um but yeah, and he says there are good Mission Impossible movies. Then there are good Bond. Yeah, I agree. Mission Impossible on the whole is better than James Bond on the whole because I can't stand Roger Moore. I cannot stand any Roger Moore, and I really only like two and a half of Pierce Brosnan, and I like all of Timothy Dalton, all of two, and most ish of Sean Connery. But yeah, you're
I
uncertain
don't
about
think I've
this
even
though.
seen I don't think I've even seen half of the Bond movies, or if I have, I haven't seen the whole thing. I've seen all of Daniel Craig's just because
Yes, he
I
has
was the right
one good
age.
one. He has one good
Casino
one, and the
Royale?
rest are just Casino Royale's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
the great one.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's the great one. Then Skyfall. I like Skyfall.
Yes, like Skyfall.
The rest I just could live without. Like, I think there's good ideas in Quantum of Solace, and I give that film a little bit of slack because it suffered so greatly by the writer's strike at the time. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of like, it sucks that it was, but it's a very bad. It is a bad movie at the end of the day. But I give that one a little bit of some grace. But the others, like particularly the last one, like, good God,
Yeah, no.
good God, like, what were they thinking? What were they thinking with that? What were they thinking?
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so So you wanted to chat a little bit about award seasons and award predictions and things like that, because you're a big awards person. So we might as well dive into a little bit of that first. And then we'll chat some I love to chat some Marvel shit, because I just do. Um what There's been some interesting drama, I think, with various award nominations that have been out there. But who are the ones, the categories I think we can kind of focus on, or maybe like the lead actor, and supporting roles, and maybe like best film sort of nominations. The
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah.
stuff, is probably not of interest to people who are going to be listening. But who are you wanting to just sort of who do you want to win, and why?
Who do I want to win? Well, so I haven't watched most of the films. I'll be honest.
I've watched one of the films.
I've seen Barbie, I've seen Saltburn, and I've seen. I think that might be it. Um,
You haven't seen Oppenheimer.
no, 3.5 hours of
You know
no.
what? I know it's long, but it's great. I genuinely loved it. It didn't feel like 3.5 hours. It's a bit like the film RRR, an Indian movie that came out year and a half, 2 years ago. But that one is like 3 hours long, but like it moves so quickly that you don't feel the 3 hours. But
Yeah.
I felt the same with Oppenheimer. But anyway, carry on.
I think so. I think my main view focuses around Barbie
Mm,
and the fuss that everybody's made because obviously Margot Robbie didn't get nominated for Best Actress. It didn't get yes,
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig didn't get nominated for Best Director. Um, but I don't know much about directing, but equally from an acting viewpoint, how hard is it to act Barbie? Not very. Surely.
No. I would say if you look
You don't have
at
to dig that deep to act like Barbie.
not no, the performance, this because this was an interesting one when people were losing their shit because Margot Robbie didn't get nominated and Greta Gerwig didn't get either, but Ryan Gosling did. Like he was the one who was pushing things into, he was the one who was like acting. Um
Is he though
Barbie's
still?
character, say again?
He's still just Ryan Gosling playing Ken.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Compare Ryan
But
Gosling
I love
in,
I love
say,
Ryan Gosling, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the man. I'll
yes,
watch anything he's in
sure.
twice, but he does really only play Ryan Gosling in
No, no,
various
no,
roles.
no. You've
You can
not seen
always
enough
see the
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling
Gosling,
movies.
always see the Ryan Gosling.
Go watch. Okay, if you compare, let's compare Drive with The Nice Guys with Barbie.
Um,
Um
mm.
those three those three, Frank is like, "Stop her, oh my god." Those three roles, and if you go even back even farther, I remember watching him as young Hercules when I
Oh,
was a kid.
Jesus.
I was which was fun. But I think he demonstrates that he has a lot of he's quite versatile. And I think Margot Robbie is versatile as well. I
Yeah.
just think with Barbie, he had more like his role had more meat, and she did nothing but pout for 2 hours. And that was my problem with Barbie. It's like I just don't care about her pouting, because I was gonna say, like, Margot. If you look at Margot Robbie's performance in Babylon, like fucking a, like
I haven't
that's
seen that, but I've heard really good things about it.
terrific. I loved that movie so much. Really impressed me, and she gave one of like it's that's probably my favorite performance by Margot Robbie is in Babylon. She
I'm
if
not saying she's not
anything,
fantastic. I'm
oh
just
yeah,
saying it's not best actress material, and I don't
yes,
think America What's It Face is best supporting actress material either. All she
no,
had
she
to
was
do was
terrible.
turn up and say some lines and do a big speech, which everybody loved, but it wasn't. I don't think it doesn't really test them as actors, does it? I mean, surely not. I mean, if you take
Mm,
Emma Stone as another example, if you look at
mm,
Emma Stone in La La Land, which she won a fucking Oscar for,
yeah.
why? I still don't get that
I've not
one. Was
seen
it
La La
quiet?
Land,
Yeah?
but
I
I've
love
not
La
seen La
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 Land.
Land, but okay.
I love it,
It's the
but
same director who did Babylon who did La La Land.
yes, 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 Damien,
And they're
what's it? But,
starkly different in, like, their tone and their approach to Hollywood, which I found, fascinating. That's a different story. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what her performance is like in La La Land, so I can't comment on
you
that.
haven't watched it? Have you watched it?
No. No, no, no. It felt too, Hollywood jerk off. Like, I didn't wanna go watch a circle jerk of, golden age Hollywood.
It
Um,
is a little bit Hollywood jerk off, but it has Ryan Gosling in it, so, tell me what
but
and he's
again, like, the
singing and
second
playing a
one.
piano.
Yeah, the second one that or the next one that the guy did, Babylon, was that one was great because it was so dark and so cynical that I was like, "This is what I fucking love. This is what
Yeah,
I'm
I didn't
after."
it's not on any streaming services, isn't it? Because I haven't seen it. I
It
seen it.
was it
It's
was
not
on
brilliant.
something because I watched it on, like, Disney or something like that. I can't remember which one, but I watched it somewhere. Paramount
Oh.
Paramount or Disney or whatever what's it called? Prime. One of
Oh,
those
okay,
3 I
I'll dig it.
watched it on. Um And no, 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 Babylon. No, Frank says, wasn't Babylon a Hollywood circle jerk? Cursive was not. That way, Babylon was like cynical. It was hating on Hollywood. It was like a depressing, sad, like just yeah. It was a tragedy, that film. But it was wonderful. But back to Barbie. The thing with Barbie again is like this summer. I feel like Barbie had to be the most overhyped movie this year, because frankly the whole thing it just wasn't very good. It just wasn't very good.
I think if you
Like,
look at what it was doing though, and why it
what
hit
did it do?
torch, it drew attention to a lot of the things going on, women's experiences that don't get talked about very much. And
But
it did
do they
and it
not get talked about very much?
they
Because I
get
think this is where I
they
think
don't
that.
get talked about as much as Barbie brought it to the surface. So, all the things, the big speech that America, did
Yeah,
wasn't revolutionary at all. Like, it's all stuff that
no.
people have been saying for about 10 years, but no one's ever said it on a screen that actually got some attention. And I guess so my question would be, did Barbie not hit home because you are a man?
No, no. See, that's something that I don't agree with. Because I know people have tried to say that, and I feel like that's sort of I feel like some people have used that sort of excuse with other things as sort of like the cop out, like, oh well, you just don't understand it because you're not X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, no, I know good storytelling. This is the big difference. Like, I know good storytelling, and I know when a story is working and when a story isn't working, and
I
on a
will agree that, yeah, it didn't.
yeah, on a structural level, like, Barbie just doesn't work. Like, what did work was when it was fanciful and we were in Barbie land. That worked. What didn't work is when we leave Barbie land, but then Mattel is as fanciful and as bizarre and weird as Barbie land. Like, well, what's the difference between the real world and Barbie land now? There seems to be none. Why does Will Ferrell and this team of Mattel execs go to Barbie Land? Because they get there and they literally do nothing, like,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. Why?
From a story perspective and from a structural perspective, it was a bit of a mess. I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
It was a
So
bit of
is
a
it a
mess, but I
surprise that
think
she didn't get Best Director? Of course not, because ultimately the film is a mess.
but I suspect it might win Best Adapted Screenplay because
Maybe.
I don't think Ryan Gosling will win. I don't think it'll win Best Picture because it's just not. But
No.
I feel like they need to give it something, and they'll give it Best
Probably.
Adapted Screenplay, even
Either
though it's
that or isn't it like up for some costume awards? Like, does set design and something
probably.
like that for fine. I mean, let me check. Poor things. Barbie, yeah, Barbie costume design it's up for that. That I would be fine with it winning that because some of that stuff looked pretty good. But the rest just nah. It's like when people were angry that these two didn't get nominated. I'm like, are we really that surprised? I mean, there's a lot of competition this year anyway. There's a lot of really good films.
Mm.
But are we that surprised? Like I'm just not. Like the speech at the end came out of left field because America Chavez, is that her name? Or am I thinking of a comic book character? Um,
It's Ferrera, but I can't pronounce it.
Frere. Yeah, I was literally naming a comic book character. My bad. Um, the speech at the end came out of left field and it was really frustrating because everything she was saying, there's kernels of truth in that, and various people could relate to some of that. But where in the movie, where at any point in that story, was she experiencing any of the fucking shit that she was bitching about? Nowhere. She was happy sitting behind a desk, apparently being a secretary, drawing pictures of Barbie. Like, where was her drive? Was she trying to like get into like the design room and like, no, you can't, and like it's but like they hired a man. Like they didn't do anything like that. Like they did nothing to sort of eh, lead us into why she was so frustrated at the end. So it just felt that's why I was like, it's like, yeah, people talk about this speech and all this kind of crap, but it's like, yeah, but it felt empty because the story was ultimately empty. Because the most ironic thing about the movie is I don't really know what message it was trying to send. Because ultimately what it says is that like Barbie world is terrible and Kens have no right to a home and are all homeless and are just there to like, you know, tickle the feathers of all the Barbies. And I'm like, you have this world where you're trying, the film is trying to reinvent Barbie for the 21st century. And they're fucking toys. They're fucking toys. So there's nothing to stop you, Mattel, from like just having full blown equality within this Barbie toy universe. Like just go for it. Just do it. But for some reason they were like, no, we're not going. You can't, there can't be any guys on our panel of ladies. Oh, we'll let one, but that's about as far as we're going to go. And I'm like, so it's like, okay, so is the message that like, patriarchy is terrible? Yeah. And the joke was that Ryan Gosling's the Ken was getting confused in the real world when he's going around seeing all this stuff. But then he goes back to the Barbie world and starts to like try to implement it, and it's just like I couldn't figure out what he was trying to say. Like feminism is bad, but patriarchy is bad. Like where is this movie? Like what is it trying to do? What is it trying to say? Like what is your fucking message, Greta? What is your fucking message? Like doesn't the film doesn't deserve to be nominated for anything.
It 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 doesn't.
Costume.
No. No. I would agree
Costume.
with you that it doesn't deserve to be nominated for Oscars, and the performances that the 3, 4 leads, however you want to make it, I don't think is
Mm,
Oscar worthy. But
no.
I think the film was good because of what it's trying to achieve, and it was trying to make some points about the patriarchy and about feminism,
Yeah.
and it was trying to say X, Y, and Z. But yes, I would
Yeah.
agree with you. But it was nice to see it on a big screen and have people saying things that you maybe have experienced yourself. And that would be my argument why,
Mm,
yes, I think the storytelling's missing something, that it doesn't show her going through those problems. But equally,
yeah.
if you're a woman, you don't need to see it. You've experienced half of the shit anyway. So when somebody says it on the screen, it does hit
Yeah.
home because you've experienced it yourself.
Let me
But
counter
anyway,
that. Let me counter that with
arguing about
the
feminism for an hour.
it's fine. I'm cool with it. Let's do it. Let me counter that with another question. Okay,
I'm
so
here to talk
some
about
people
Jacob Elordi, Luke. Come on, get on topic.
we'll get there. We'll get there. We got all night. We got all night. Well, a couple hours. Well, hour and a half. Well, we'll see.
No, we haven't got
Um,
all night. I gotta go to bed.
um, now I agree that like it's good to have these things said, but the story is not about telling; it's about showing. And when you're trying to make people aware of a situation, of a circumstance, like imagine Schindler's List just like telling you all the stuff that the Nazis were doing to the Jews. Like you know, at the end of the movie, you just have this big speech where Chandler just, you know, rattles off all the terrible things. But it's like, well, you know, if the story actually took us there and drove us along this path and we were experiencing the stuff along the way with the characters, that that then opens people's eyes who may not, like, whether it's dudes, whether it's certain women who may not experience one thing that another one does, like that I think could be that I think could be a bit more impactful overall, because someone
Yeah.
did say that to us once, to me and my wife, that, oh well, I just knew what they were talking about. I'm like, yeah, but what about the people who don't? What about the people who don't?
Yeah. So you've
That's
got
who
a
you're
good
trying to
point.
reach.
Yes, that is a good point. That if you want to educate people, you have to take them along in the story. The
Yeah.
Schindler's List thing doesn't stand up because the majority of us weren't there. So there is more
Eh,
storytelling that has to be done. Whilst with everything that was covered in Barbie, we are there now, experiencing it now. We're not in
eh.
Schindler's List world. But
I
anyway,
mean,
I've just got a
I
comment
dis
saying, Sam,
I
agree with him.
I disagree. I disagree there, because like there are still people who are alive who like or are not far removed from stuff that happened
Yes,
at
but the
that time.
majority of people that in that anyway, can we talk about Deadpool 3? Because that looks far more entertaining.
We don't want to talk about World War II. We don't want to talk about World War II.
We don't want to talk about
Um,
World War II. I think we've covered off Barbie. I think we
yes.
might agree on Deadpool 3, so I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, but like, you know, controversial opinions clashing is fun. Um,
Well,
so
let's
yes,
argue
so
about Saltburn, but you've done that, so anyway.
well, we can talk a little about Saltburn, because that hasn't been nominated for shit. And are you bummed that
It's been
Saltburn
nominated for
hasn't
quite a lot of BAFTAs.
for
So
BAFTAs? Yes, but
BAFTAs,
who cares about the BAFTAs? I'm
I
kidding.
care
BAFTAs
about
are
BAFTAs.
important.
BAFTAs is the
BAFTAs
British
are important.
Oscars. We care
Did
about
you just flip me off?
BAFTAs. Did I?
You
If I
pushed you
did, it
pushed your
wasn't
glasses up
consciously.
with your middle finger.
Oh, sorry. I'll put it this way. There we go.
At least I think you did, but it was a joke anyway. Okay, so they've been nominated for some BAFTAs, and Jacob Elordi has been nominated for what? Rising Up and Coming Rising Star.
So BAFTAs, it was nominated for Best British something or other, whatever they call it. Rosamund Pike is up for Best Supporting Actress. Barry, however you pronounce it, Keoghan?
Yeah,
Keoghan?
sure.
Keoghan? He's up for Best
Keegan.
Actor. The Lord is up for Best Supporting Actor. It's got lots of BAFTAs, but then it has
Yes,
zero Oscar.
yes. Do you think it's a is it a snub? Is it a genuine snub, or is it that like there's just other things were just so much better?
I think it's better than Barbie. I think as storytelling and as in terms of plot and in terms of acting, I think every aspect of it is better than Barbie.
I agree-ish. There's asterisks. I agree that visually it's very well shot. The framing of every scene is very well done, and it's a visual feast. I definitely agree there. I also agree the acting is very, very good. I also agree that on a moment by moment basis, there is interesting dialogue happening between characters. Um, I think but I think when I look at it, when I look at the picture as a whole, is where I'm like, wait, but there's a lot of whys. You know, why was Barry's character doing X, Y, and Z? There's a lot of focus issues for me with Saltburn. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of I'm I'm more than fine that it didn't get an Oscar nom, but do you think it will win the BAFTAs? Is it worthy of winning some of these BAFTAs?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at I can't remember what it's up against.
Well, it's up against a lot
Um,
of the same
it's
some
a
of the
lot of the
same things.
same, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Barry Whatsit might win. He won last year, didn't he, for the Banshees of Ish or whatever it is. I can't pronounce
Oh,
anything.
right, yeah, yeah,
He won I think he won Best Supporting last year.
yeah.
Um, he he might. I mean, I must admit, I think Saltburn's better with a second watch. So when I watched it back the second time,
Yeah.
and you can see what's going with the knowledge of what the plot is and what happens. When you watch it the second time, you can see how it all fits together better. So there's
Yeah.
just wonderful, I think, foreshadowing. So they foreshadow the maze, which I didn't pick up this first time. They pick up
Oh, I
they
did. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't. They foreshadow loads of it, and then also when you watch it back, are we allowed to? Yeah, I guess everyone's
I've been
gonna.
swearing all day.
No, no, no. I wasn't asking about the swearing. I was
Oh
asking
wait.
about spoilers.
Oh yeah,
Are we
no,
allowed
yeah,
to
fucking
spoil it? Yeah.
spoiler away. Yeah.
When you watch it back, knowing because I started out thinking that obviously the family and Saltburn are this evil entity, and he's going
Yeah.
to get destroyed. So you start with that expectation, but when you watch it back, there's never anything there that makes you think that Felix, for example, is evil. He's lovely throughout the entire film. He never does
Yeah.
anything wrong,
I know.
ever.
It's annoying. It's frustrating.
Anyway, but
Like, what's frustrating in that was my take when I walked away from this movie. I said in my other my deep dive review was that the rich assholes, none of them did anything that was terrible. Not a
oh, they
single not a
do.
single one did anything that was malicious.
The way they treat poor Pamela.
But did they really treat her bad though? Because
Kicked her out, and then she went and killed herself.
yeah, but again, that was like that came out of left field because like who cares that she killed herself? And that like she's not a character. She was a she
Yeah,
was a bit.
but their reaction to it is awful. I mean,
Their
saying
reaction
she'll
to
do
it is
oh,
bland. I agree.
no, no,
Is
no,
like
not bland, it's awful. She'll do I mean, imagine somebody committing suicide and you saying she'll do anything for attention. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean
it's
that okay. That's probably
awful.
the worst thing that they did. Really, like realistically, because the other angle is like, okay, well, they let this person come and stay and live in their house, and they're like, it's time for you to get out. Like, they didn't know she was gonna kill herself, but they were like, you've been here for a while, so they're actually being quite kind and generous, and they're being kind and generous to Barry's character, and they're letting all these people, like even the cousin whose mom is off the rails, I guess in the States, like they're letting him, and they're paying for this. Like, they keep doing all these really nice things for people. They're out of touch and they are insensitive at times. But I'm like, I'm not seeing terrible people, but Barry's character from the very fucking beginning, he is an asshole. Like he keeps doing weird shit without
Yeah, but
any explanation.
at the
Like
beginning, you think he's doing weird shit because he comes from a broken home
you
and,
do.
he's
Yes.
got a bad background and his
Yes.
dad's just died
Yes.
and, all that sort of stuff. So that's why, you can see a reason for why he's a misfit. He's a bit of a loser. He hasn't got any money. He feels out of place. You
Yeah.
can see why he's doing all these things.
Yeah, except he's not. It comes out that he's none of those
Yeah.
things, and nothing ever comes of that reveal other than other than what's his face, Jacob's character's death. Like,
Well, he
but
kills all of them effectively, doesn't he?
no, he doesn't.
He kills, what's it in the I mean, she kills herself, but
Yeah, the
he
sister kills herself. The dad just dies of natural causes like 20 years later. We don't really know why
I
how
don't think the dad does die of natural causes. I thought he killed himself
the dad. No, I don't think. No. The dad didn't kill himself.
because he said something like, "Oh, because Rosamund Pike said something like he waited. I'm surprised he waited so long, or whatever it is, or something like
Yeah,
that."
I don't think I didn't get the impression that he killed himself. But like
Oh,
the other big problem with like the end of that movie was like, where's the cousin? Like the cousin, the sister should probably inherit everything, but somehow in the last couple of
what
minutes,
cousin?
the black kid, the black guy, I can't remember his name. I can't remember
Well,
the
he's
character's
not
name.
their actual cousin.
Yeah, it's his sister. It's the guy's sister's kid.
Oh.
It's Richard E. Grant's character. It's his sister. That's their kid. That's her kid. That's her son.
Oh, I thought he was just like some hanger-on that sort of
No, he's like legit. He's a
Mm.
legitimate family.
But okay, but to combat that, I think the reason he inherits everything is because she basically hooks up. So Rosamund Pike,
Yeah,
whatever her name is, Elspeth,
Elspeth. Yeah.
I assume that she left everything to Oliver
That is the implication, but it's just sort of
because he's there. He's
yeah.
he's arranged to he's tried to find her, arranged to meet her, They
Yeah.
get to be friends, or however you wanna look at it,
Yeah.
and then she leaves everything to him. That was my
That was
reading of.
mine too, but it was like, wow, they summarized that big sort of like that would have taken time and energy, and they summarized it in about like 10 seconds. You're like, wow, okay, where did
I
this
was
come
just
from?
surprised that he didn't fuck the corpse, to be honest. I thought that's where they were going with
Well,
that
yeah,
one.
I mean that's the other thing with this movie is you're sort of like, what was Barry's character? What was his motivation for stuff? Like, for example, no one can tell me why particularly he chose that family to follow and to like destroy.
'Cause he
Like,
was in love with Jacob,
but he wasn't. But he
Freudian slip.
wasn't.
Felix. No, he was.
He wasn't. He said he wasn't at the end of the movie. And like, when did he
That's
fall?
bullshit.
Was it though? But when did he fall in love, and why did he fall in love? He just like what he gives them his bike, and they just fall in love.
No, he doesn't
Like,
give him his bike.
yes, he
That was
does.
all.
Because he remember he pops his tire, and then he gives Jacob his bike, and
Yeah,
then
because then he knows that, sorry, Felix, then he knows that Felix
yes.
will be, like,
But that whole scene is played
indebted
as
to
their
him.
first introduction, and
I
that's
don't I don't find it I don't find it implausible that you could see Jacob Elordi and go, "I am in love with you and I want to, make you indebted to me in any way, shape, or form."
is that good story? Oh, I just see this person, therefore I'm going to do that. Like, I need more motivation than that. I got no motivation for why he was doing any of it. It's just because someone's hot doesn't mean you're
Well,
like,
but he wanted to fit in as well. He saw Felix was surrounded by friends, he was surrounded by people. He was
yeah,
the world that Oliver wanted to be in. He wanted to be that popular. He wanted to be surrounded by friends and drinking and laughing.
yeah.
And his way into that was Felix. But I think he
But
and then the
why?
moment that he saw Felix like cooling off to him, he invented this dead father.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean
And that
that
opened
was
all the
clear
doors to him, and
for
then
sure.
when Felix pushed him away, obviously when he found out about the mother and the father being alive, blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
that's when Felix had to go, but by that point, he was in the
Yeah.
family, he was in the house, and he
Yeah.
wanted the house, and that's how it all went.
I
That was
mean,
my reading of
yeah,
it.
I mean, I guess my problem was that the movie starts with him saying that with what was Barry's character's name? He's not
Oliver.
Oliver. Oliver keeps saying, "Oh, I'm in love with Felix. Oh, I'm in love with Felix." Blah 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 blah.
At the
But
beginning, he says he wasn't.
at the beginning he says he was. At the end he says he wasn't.
Somebody's like, "Wait, we're still on Saltburn."
Yes, we're still on Saltburn, friend. Yes, we are.
Yes.
So, and because this is what drives me nuts about the movie is like, okay, well, you set this up, but then throughout the movie, once he gets to Saltburn and once he like drinks the bathwater scene, like there's nothing else sort of romantic about their relation. He doesn't try anything on, but then he goes and fucks the cousin, then he goes and eats out the sister, and like it's like what is like
Nobody stops eating out the sister because Felix says, "You've got to stop eating out my sister."
I mean, yeah, but like at what point is he ever going to focus his all this loving affection on Felix? Like Oliver never does that. He didn't.
But Felix is so spectacularly out of his league that I
Every
just
single
don't think
person that
he
he
ever
fucks in
would.
that movie was out of his league. That dude has a face like melted wax.
He does. He does. But weirdly, he gets more attractive as the movie goes on. So he starts out
Okay, I'll
very,
take your word
very
for it.
well, income.
As all the people start dying and there's fewer people on screen, he becomes the most attractive.
No, but I believed him. I believed in him as a basically a cuckoo in the nest, a sociopath
Yeah,
that finds his way into this family. I don't think it was ever his plan to go to Saltburn.
yeah,
I think it was always just his plan to be close to Felix and to be close to the popular kids. And
yeah,
then he goes to Saltburn and he thinks, "Fuck, I want a part of this life." And then
yeah.
when Felix pushes him away and says, "You make me sick," or whatever he
Well, he
says.
doesn't push him away till like the very, very end of the movie. Like that's
What do you mean the very end of the movie? It's only halfway through. I know because I watched that far and stopped.
was that when he dies?
Yeah.
It's halfway through. There's another like hour left.
It's about 2/3 at most. There's a lot of movie after it.
It's not that much. A little bit, but not that much. Not that.
But yeah, I mean,
But I think the other
yes,
problem
so I
with
can
the
believe that this sociopath was then you know, he gets into Saltburn, he sees the sister. He probably wants the sister as well. I don't think he wants the cousin. What's his
Yeah,
name?
no, I don't
Forgotten
think
his
so
name.
either. No,
I
I
think he's
agree.
just fucking with him
Yeah, yeah,
and
I agree.
wants that power over him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I believed his motivation. I must admit, I sort of went along with it and saw it, and yeah.
Yeah. I struggled with it, I really did, and the 2 other people who watched it with me struggled as well. Maybe we're all just thick, I don't know. But it was, I mean, because the other thing that was frustrating was there was so much that was frustrating, was I don't know. I could keep going, or maybe we should move on, I don't know. Saltburn for me just didn't land, and I'm not so again, I'm like, I don't think it's I think it was a cheap rip off of a talented Mr. Ripley. Like, if you go back and watch Ripley, you get why he is falling in love with the situation, and why he wants to assume the person's life, and why he wants to take over. Um, you're f- you I again, I feel like they took me on that journey, whereas with with Saltburn, I'm like, I don't know what is up with, like, when they go to Oliver's house and his parents are fucking normal and he has a sibling and stuff, like, I don't understand the reasoning for Felix to just be like, "You're a fucking nut job. You're fucking staying here. I'm gonna fucking mail you your stuff."
Because he's a nice guy. Because
I
he's
I
a
didn't even buy it as a nice guy thing. I couldn't even, I'm like, "This is too weird. This is too weird." Even if you're a nice person, this is too weird to just be like, "Have your big party and let's move on." Like,
no,
I
he was saying have the big party and then fuck off, basically,
yeah,
wasn't
but
he?
I don't buy that. I'm like, I just
But
couldn't, I
but
just
then
couldn't
the
buy it.
party's organized, the party's there, and he didn't want to he just didn't I think he had some empathy for her. I think and you're not going to, but
No.
what I would suggest you do is watch it again,
Oh,
knowing what the Oliver Quick character is, because then you watch it again, and I think it stands up better the second I enjoyed it more the second time than I did the first time, because I
mm,
could see what she was doing and what how the characters I wave my hands around a lot. I could see what the can what I could see what was going on, but anyway.
yeah,
We can
yeah,
agree on one thing, it is a beautifully shot
yeah, I
film.
agree with that. Like, it looks good. It's well acted. It's just for me, like, the story just couldn't. I just didn't hold up for me. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't stomach it. Too many questions. Too many questions. Too many questions. Um, now okay, so let's go back to some Oscar stuff, and then we can chat some Deadpool and Fantastic Four. Um, who in terms of leading role and supporting role, who would you like to win on the Oscar side?
You're gonna have to remind me who they all are. Wait a minute, let me look it up. I was
So
looking at it earlier.
right, in actor in a leading role is Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Colum Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Supporting actors and supporting role is, you have Sterling Brown in American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. Actresses, you have Annette Bening and Naiad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, Emma Stone in
So,
Poor Things.
leading role, I think it's between, Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti.
Possibly. You know what has thrown a spanner in for me. I would probably gone with Killian Murphy, because I think he's great and he did a fantastic job in Oppenheimer, and it's great that finally, after, I've been watching him since, like, fucking Red Eye and Batman Begins, like, he's finally the lead in a movie. He was terrific in Peaky Blinders. I would like for him to win. The only other one that I'm like, I don't know, is Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Um, because I saw American Fiction and it's fucking amazing.
But do you think enough people have seen American Fiction for it to get enough nominations to win the Oscar?
Well, I guess
It's
that's
only just come out by the sounds of it.
it's been out in the States and it's coming out and stuff here. But I that movie, his character, it's so phenomenal what is going on. And in the way that, like, if you compare it to Barbie, like, Barbie is like beating you over the head with, like, It's
Let it go.
very
Let it
simplistic.
go, Luke.
No, 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 no. It's relevant. It's beating over the head with its like message at the end with that big speech. Whereas American Fiction does this. It's so like its commentary and its satire is so like perfectly fine tuned in the way that it's moving through this narrative. Because the narrative, if you haven't seen American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright plays a character named Monk, who is he's a lecturer at a university, and he's also a writer. So he teaches creative writing. And the whole movie is basically about how he's frustrated with the way the publishing industry and academia um, boxes black people into certain groups. Like at one point in the movie, he goes to a bookshop and he's looking for his book, and he finds it in a section that's like, black stories, and he's like, "Why is my book here? My book doesn't belong here. My book." He's like, his direct quote is like, "The blackest thing about this book is the text." And he like takes the whole stack of books and he tries to like move them and put them into
He's
the
got a
general.
stack of books. What's he complaining about? If he's got a
I
stack
well,
of books in a bookshop.
yeah,
Sorry, no.
yeah. I mean, of course, of course. And so the movie really dives into that thing, and so as a joke, and also pissed off, he writes a really cliched, what you would expect a white person to like jizz over, like black story. And he gives it to his agent. His agent's like, "This isn't going to go anywhere." He's like, "I know." He goes, "That's the point." He goes, "That's the fucking point." And so his agent sends it off, and of course, instantly gets picked up. And the funny thing is, all the people that he's encountering who are loving it are all of these stupid spoilers. I don't give a shit about spoilers. Of course, spoilers. The funny thing about it is, like, all the people he's encountering are all these stupid white people who are just gobbling all this stuff up. And to kind of keep the charade going, Jeffrey Wright's character decides to, because he doesn't really want his accredited name attached to this book, so he invents a pseudonym for it. And they're like, "Oh yeah, the author of this book is is this he's a gangster, he's a thug, and he's wanted by the police, and da 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 da. So he needs anonymity and all this stuff." And so he has to, like, when he's having these conversations with certain people, he has to sort of assume that kind of role, and he just feels frustrated and icky by it. And there's a bit in the movie where he's like, "The dumber I act, the richer I'm becoming," because the book gets picked up by a film, and it's going to be made into a movie. And
Yeah,
he's
but the
go
mistake you're making here is you're equating a good movie with winning an Oscar.
Well, true, but that's why I'm saying this for me is like, I mean, when I look at the ones that are the actors who are nominated, I think I haven't seen a couple of these, but like these are like, this is a fucking great movie, and this is a great performance, and I love what he like. I love how he works this character. And I'm like, to me, like, that is one, like, I would love for that to win. I would
Yeah.
love for that to win.
Okay.
Because the movie was so well done, so fucking well done. And yeah, so I would love for Jeffrey Wright to win. Um, if he doesn't, I would love for Killian Murphy to win, because I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
Paul and everyone else, I don't care about Bradley Cooper.
No. No, I don't think Bradley Cooper's gonna win it again. Poor guy. So, acting in a supporting role, I think Robert Downey Jr. might get it.
He should.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but
No, he's fucking
he's like,
fantastic.
bad boy of Hollywood, done good. Did
Yeah.
all those awful these Marvel films,
Yes.
and now he's done a worthy film
Yeah.
and he's good in it. So I
Yeah.
reckon he might.
Yeah, I would be more than fine. That to me, I think is the if you compare, this also was kind of difficult. If you compare Robert Downey Jr.'s role to like Ryan Gosling's, I'm like, this is like this is hard. Like, come on, like, this is it's almost not even fair. It's almost not even fair, because come on. But yeah, you need to see Oppenheimer, because his performance is fucking.
Yeah. Okay.
He is terrific. There was a movie that Robert Downey Jr. did when he had a bit of a hiatus in between some Marvel movies. He had like there's like 1 year where he could do like a couple other movies. And he did a very small movie that didn't do very well called The Judge.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and I like that movie. That's another solid fucking movie that people need to pay more attention to, because
Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching as well, like, it's fucking sad. You can
Yeah,
it's a god
it's a good film.
it's a goddamn sad movie.
Actress and a leading role, I think Lily Gladstone will probably take it.
Probably, yeah.
Or it'll be Emma Stone, which will be a bit meh.
See, they haven't released Poor Things here yet, but I've been listening to the
No.
book, and I love the book. I love the book, and I'm so keen to see Poor Things. But they've edited Poor Things for the UK release for some reason. Like they've cut out something like I think it's like some sort of like toned down some of the sex scenes or something like that. And I'm like what the fuck has Britain become? Like because like 20, 30 years ago, like people in America would be like floored at the amount of like nudity and sex that was like on like basic television. And now like the UK like film board are like, you need to edit this because this is too much. Like,
Perhaps
fuck,
they want it a particular certificate though, so it gets seen by more people, and to do that, they have to edit it.
I don't know.
'Cause that's often how it works, that if
Yeah.
they want something, if they d often film studios don't want things to be an 18, they wa or an R in America, they want them to be 15s, and to get to be a 15, you have to edit a certain amount of the nudity and swearing and whatever out, so that I mean, I'm
Mm,
just speculating, it might be.
that's
I
a
know
good point
films that
though. No, that's a
they've
good point. That
done
might
that
be why they've done that. They
'cause
might be why they might be.
they didn't want an 18 certificate on it.
Yeah, nope. That could be. That could
When,
be.
Deadpool is the exact opposite, isn't it? Isn't it an 18? Must be,
It's
surely.
got to be an 18. I'm pretty sure it's an 18.
Surely.
Yeah, yeah. They
So I
they weren't
think
going to
that's
tone
the
that
opposite.
down.
I think
Yeah,
Deadpool, they said, "No, we want this to be an 18. We wanna keep all this stuff in."
yeah,
And but
yeah.
some films, they edit to keep it down, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah, I
know.
think, that's probably that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, interesting shit. We'll see who wins. We'll see who wins. Like I said, I would like for Jeffrey Wright to win and Robert Downey Jr. And I think Lily Gladstone will definitely be the one who
Yeah.
wins. Um in terms of directing, I don't really care.
Who's the
Um
directing? No, I don't really give a shit either.
no.
What about
No.
best film? I'm trying to find best film list. Where is it gone? There we go, best picture.
Best picture. Yes, 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 yes.
So American
Um
Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killer of a Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. Well, that's not gonna go anywhere. I don't know.
I want to see Zone of Interest, but I've not seen that one yet either. Um,
Oppenheimer? I reckon Oppenheimer might take it.
yeah, I mean, looking here, like looking at the ones that are here, the ones that stand out the most would I don't think Poor Things would get it. I know people have talked about it, but I think the ones that stand out is Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, American Fiction, Oppenheimer. Too many people didn't seem thrilled with Maestro, and I've not heard almost anything about Zone of Interest, as in like just people talking about it in general. So Best Picture.
If Nolan takes Best Director, then I think he definitely will take Best Picture, won't he?
Well, that's the trick. Maybe not. Maybe they would give that to someone else. It's like, okay, you've got Best Director, but we'll give Best Picture to someone else.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, again, that basically was my big rant when I was talking about like what I loved about American Fiction. I'm like, of all the ones that I've seen here, I'm like that one is probably my favorite. Like I said, putting that above Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is number 2 for me. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I would love for that one to win. That is the one I'm rooting for, but I'm pretty sure, as you said, it's probably not going to win. I don't know if enough people have seen it, but it is fucking fantastic. But yeah,
I will go and see it.
go and see it. You won't regret it. I swear to God.
And then
Um,
if I disagree with you, we can have another chance, but I'm sure I won't. I'm sure
I
I'll
would
see.
I would love to have a whole episode dedicated to American Fiction, and I would because I'm gonna watch it again because it's fucking great. Like it's just especially if you come at it when you come at it from like your experience of being in the publishing world as well. And so I'm seeing the academic side, I'm seeing the publishing side. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hitting everything on the head so fucking well. And it's just yeah, it's pitch perfect with what they're trying to say about pigeonholing people. And there's this yeah, I don't want to spoil any of this, but there's these wonderful scenes in there where people are saying we want black voices, but they're ignoring every black voice in the movie. And it's like, see it, people. Come on. Come on. it's so well done. It's yeah, you can get a sense of the, the frustrated pandering that happens within the industry, and it's fucking great. It's fucking great. Um, right. So okay, let's talk. Let's bitch about Marvel for a couple minutes then. Um, let me see here. There we go. Okay. Fantastic Four. I want to talk about Fantastic Four for just a second. Did you have any invested interest in Fantastic Four, like, at all? Like, did you grow up with
No,
it? You care about it?
my only comment would be, why the hell are we making it again? And we done it twice. There's the Chris
Very
Evans version.
yes, yes. And then
Um,
there was the one in 2014 that was an epic disaster. But
I
the
don't even
Chris Evans ones
remember
got
that one.
they got two sequels. They got two out of him. They got two out of that.
Out of what? Which one?
Chris
Oh,
Evans.
no.
They had two. They had two movies.
Oh.
They had Fantastic Four, and then they had Rise of the Silver Surfer, which is the sequel.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They were both very average. Yeah. So, I mean, my question would be, why are we making it again? I mean, they've been throwing around actors for it for ages. So the ones that I saw ages ago were John Krasinski, Emily Blunt. I think
Yeah,
Zac Efron was in it. Wasn't
yeah.
there another? I can't even remember who the rock bloke was. This is how well I know the rock bloke.
The Thing is his name.
So that's been going around for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Pedro Pascal. Can't see. I mean, yeah, okay. And I love Vanessa Kirby. I think she's
I love
fantastic
Vanessa
in
Kirby as
everything.
well. I mean, in terms of those two, I mean, their casting, I'm fine with. I don't know enough about Joseph Quinn and Eben to be able to be like, oh, they might be good for that role. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I feel like Pedro is fine. Vanessa Kirby is fine. The thing that is interesting to me is that I get the vibe that this is going to be a period piece, possibly in 1960s, because the magazine that the thing is reading there, I saw on Twitter someone found that Time magazine or Life magazine, and it's from 1963. So I'm like, interesting. And if you look at the picture, I mean, this whole picture is very retro. It's kind of screaming 1960s sort of vibe. It's not screaming
Yeah.
modern day.
No, no,
So
no.
is this some sort of like just an homage to the 60s when the comics was big, or is this really going to be a period piece? And then I started to think more about it, and I'm beginning to wonder if their plan, and I'm kind of thinking about this in relation also to Deadpool, is the Fantastic Four are known for jumping, you know, jumping into different realities and stuff like that. And I sort of wonder if they're going to have their world be a 1960s world, but will they be jumping through, timelines, multiverse stuff into the other Marvel universe to then sort of connect them, and will they be jumping back and forth
I'm
between
I'm surprised they still invest. I'm surprised they still invest in these movies, because
so my
another one came out last week, which I'd never heard of before, the Madam Web thing.
oh yeah, Madam Web, that was a disaster.
Yeah,
But
but I never even had that on. I didn't even know it was being. I mean, I hate Dakota Johnson with a passion, but I didn't
why?
realize that they were even making it. And then it came out. I was like, well, why? Like, why
Yeah.
are they still making this shit? I mean, make something
Well,
new.
Sony made that one. So Sony made that because they have the Spider-Man rights. And if they don't keep making some sort of Spider-Man product, they will lose the rights and it'll revert back to Marvel Studios.
But I like Spider-Man. I like the Tom Holland
I hate
Spider-Man
those.
world.
Dreadful.
But well, the last one was a bit shit. But generally, I fairly, they're fairly watchable. And I like Tom Holland. He's always very watchable. But this man, I mean, yeah, maybe I'm just biased because I hate Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, but wait, why do you hate her so much?
She just gets on my tits. Like Emma Watson, she's another one. Oh God, no.
Emma Watson. Oh, Hermione. Yeah, yeah, I'm fine with Hermione.
She's terrible in every single film.
She's
Every
not
single
very
film
good.
she's in, she ruins. Like, There's no exception to this, and I think Dakota Johnson's pretty much the same.
Interesting. I know very little about her. I know very little. So I don't love her, I don't hate her, but I know she's in a bad movie. Um but yeah, I mean, yeah, so I mean, the Madam Web, that's the reason for that, but I'm just sort of I'm my interest is mildly piqued with this Fantastic Four because I'm just my we can link
Are
this
you
into Dead.
reading too much into one single image?
No, no, no. With the, I mean, we can link this into Deadpool,
Oh.
because it's I sort of lost my train of thought now. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, I'm just wondering if they're going to do this kind of timeline multiverse jumping with this particular movie because I can see it happening, but I've got it back. But I'm worried that things are going to get convoluted. Things are already a bit convoluted
You're
with
worried I was gonna say you're worried things are going to get
yeah.
convoluted.
The MCU is already very, 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 very convoluted now. People used to bitch all the time about how like the X-Men movies were impossible to follow. Like that's a fucking walk in the park. Like try making sense of the MCU beyond the first Avengers movie. Like good fucking luck. Especially once you get to like these latter movies and stuff. But the problem is then when you get to Deadpool, um, so if Fantastic Four is set in the 60s, but they're jumping around, you then also have Deadpool, which the first trailer for that didn't really wow me. And I loved the first movie. I liked the second one. And the minute Disney acquired Fox, I was just like, fuck. I had
Uh-oh.
no excitement for Deadpool 3. Like, did you like the first two at all?
Yes. Yeah. So I like the first 2. I think without Ryan Reynolds, they wouldn't land at all. I think they it's his thing, isn't it? The trailer, I must admit, I thought was another weird skit between him and Hugh Jackman. I didn't realize it was the actual trailer until I watched it then again. I was like, "Oh, okay." Because they do, they do these, like, weird
Yeah.
skits every now and again,
Yeah,
don't they? It's like
they
he likes
do.
working with his mate, and it's like, "Alright, fair enough," but to
Yeah.
base a whole movie around the fact he likes working with his mate is a bit like,
Yes.
"Really?"
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I
but
do it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that Hugh Jackman, in theory, hung up his Wolverine claws at the same time that Deadpool was getting made. Because it was like, ah, at that time, I was like, I would have been so down for a duo movie with them because Deadpool was basically set in the same Fox continuity, more or less. There was some aesthetic changes with a couple of characters. That's like I'm fine with that. That's fine. Colossus doesn't look the same or sound the same, but I can suspend my disbelief and just roll with it. That's fine. Um, but yeah, like that would have been perfect. But it's just because everything's connected to Disney. The first fucking joke in the trailer had to be a Disney joke.
yeah,
And it's
about
like,
pegging.
yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I like anticipated this being. And if you're ticking these things that I'm already sort of anticipating, like that isn't instilling much hope or confidence. Now, again, sure, it's this short teaser trailer. The film itself could surprise me and be fine. But back to the convoluted problem, though, is I mean, this Wolverine is blatantly not the Wolverine from the X-Men movies that we know because he doesn't wear this stupid costume, and all the fans have been badgering for years to put him in a stupid yellow and blue suit, and now they finally have it. Like, good for you, but like, I don't care. I don't
If
care.
he It depends whether they lead into the fact that he's a bit old now,
Well,
because how
Wolverine is
old.
ageless, isn't he? As in, like he
Yeah, but Hugh
doesn't.
Jackman is not ageless. Look at Hugh Jackman. He is, what, in his 50s now?
But he's up there.
Yeah. So, as long as they lean into the fact that I mean, is Wolverine really supposed to be ageless?
He ages very, very, very slowly. So
Because
at the
he
age of 50, he could be like 150. I'm spouting shit, but like that's kind of the
somebody's just said, "Sam, leave Hugh alone." I I
Mm.
I'm not going after Hugh because I do love Hugh, but equally, he doesn't look the same as when he started doing Wolverine, does he?
No, but I mean, again, this I mean, this we don't. This is the thing. Like, we don't know where this Wolverine is coming from, and they've already introduced the X-Men at the Sting, the trailer end of the film Sting for the Marvels. They have a scene where a character kind of falls through a fucking rift in space and then wakes up in the X-Men mansion, where Beast is there. So we've been introduced to Beast. Deadpool 3 is bringing Wolverine, and it's bringing the guy who played Pyro from X-Men 1 and 2 and 3, but clearly not the same version. They're I think they're all playing kind of like multiverse versions of themselves, because it seems like Deadpool is going to be like, we've already seen it with Spider-Man. We've seen it with, a couple other these Marvel things, but I think Deadpool is going to lean heavily into the multiverse stuff, because it's taking from Loki, and Deadpool goes to the TVA, which is that out of time and space, uh, you know, whatever organization that manages all that manages the timelines. Um, and I'm just sort of like, Loki was kind of shit. The first season wasn't good. The second season I liked. I did genuinely like the second season more than two, more than one. Like, it actually had a story and concluded a story. Whereas
I think
season
I actually
one,
watched the second one, or maybe I didn't. Mm.
I would maybe
The
give it a go. It basically does everything that season one should have done. But the problem is, it's like, how many times can you keep doing multiverse stuff before it just feels old? Like, it
Well,
already feels old
I
to me.
think Marvel's weakest stuff is all the multiverse stuff. So that terrible thing with Ant-Man, I mean, what the fuck was that?
Oh, that was bad. Fuck, that was
Oh
bad.
my god, that was so bad. I was just like, "Ugh." So that
Yeah.
one was terrible. The one with Doctor Strange, which is more multiverse than the other multiverse, that was terrible.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man one, which is multiverse, that's not the best one. The
No,
whole of
the
Loki, I was like, I don't have a clue what's going on for the majority of what was happening. Although I will watch Tom Hiddleston in anything,
yeah.
that was testing my limit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they need to just drop this multiverse stuff, because it's not like I haven't seen Ant-Man. Don't Well, Ant-Man's good. The latest one, don't bother watching it. Honestly, it's absolute garbage.
Yeah, no, it's I can't stand. I was baffled when I watched that. I didn't see it in cinemas. I wait for it to come on Disney Plus
Yeah,
now,
yeah, it
because
was on Disney
I don't
Plus.
I don't go to the cinema to see these movies anymore. I'm like, I'm
No,
done. Like, I'm done with that. But I will see them when they're on the
when
Disney
they
Plus.
which is inevitably like 2 weeks after they come out of the cinema anyway,
Exactly,
so
right?
you don't have to wait long. I was
No,
that Madam Web thing will be on next week, so
probably. But yeah, so I gotta, yeah, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled with the Deadpool trailer. I'm not really that excited. I know a lot of people are, because they're seeing all these stupid little fucking Easter eggs, like, oh, there's a comic book on the floor in this scene. I don't give a shit. I don't care. The Secret Wars is on the fucking floor. I don't. There's a big kind of broken 20th Century Fox logo, in the ground and stuff. And I'm just sort of like, oh, this feels too on the nose. There's also scenes in the trailer that look like Deadpool is revisiting scenes from the Marvel universe, from the MCU. There's a scene that looks like he's in Avengers 2. I don't know if you remember the beginning of Avengers 2, when they're all in some Eastern European made up country, and it's all snowy, and they're in the woods, and they go to a castle to retrieve the scepter, Loki's scepter, Loki pokey stick. Um yeah, it's they basically have this, there's a scene, and I'm just sort of like, don't Back to the Future to this. Like, just come on. Come on. Don't do it. Don't fucking
yeah,
do it.
I think I mean,
Frank, shut up. I'll do what I want. Fuck
there
off.
are films which I look forward to going, and I do think actually I might go and see that at the cinema.
I
And
will see Deadpool when it comes to my local art house cinema that is cheap.
well, my local cinema is pretty cheap, but I'm not sure it's the time for me. It's actually, I don't have that much time to go to the cinema. I don't think I would go see either Fantastic Four or Deadpool 3. I
No,
don't
oh
think.
god. I mean,
However, somebody
fantastic.
brought up Twisters, and I probably would go and see Twisters, even though it's a remake and the first one was perfect. I probably would go and see Twisters at the
It has
cinema.
been a long time since I've seen Twisters. I saw Twister. I have a memory of my parents going to a friend's house to watch it because like their friend just got some new surround sound system, and so we all went over to watch Twister. And that was fun. I sort of remember that, and I think I might have watched it one or two more times as a kid, but I bet you I haven't watched that movie properly since the
It's
90s.
good. It's one of my friends. So I wrote a book about weather systems and storms,
Okay.
a fiction book. So, and my friends that are meteorologists were like, if you want to see a storm chaser
Mm,
car, go
mm,
and watch Twister. And so I
yeah.
was like, okay, so I watched Twister again, and it is actually a very good film. But I probably would watch the remake just because it looks like it's quite fun.
Yeah. I can't quite tell. Is it going to be is it a remake? I can't quite tell if it's a sequel or not. Like it's
I think it's a reboot, isn't it? Where they just take
yeah.
the same principle and make a new. I mean, it's the same principle, isn't it? There's going to be a woman who's going to be attractive. There's going to be Glenn Powell who is attractive. There's going to be a big storm and some peril and some twisty things, and
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
plot, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
because when I saw the little machine with little
the
volley
things.
things,
Yeah,
I was like "Wait a minute. They didn't invent, like, something new, they're just using the same gadget?"
using the
Like
same balls.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, "Wait a minute, what is this?"
20 years
It's
later, we haven't got anything better.
right, yeah, that was my thought. I was like, "Wait a minute."
Oh,
That's
actually,
why
isn't it Daisy? Isn't it Daisy Edgar Jones? Isn't she the woman in it?
I can't remember who the people are in Twisters. I
It's
just know
definitely
that
Glen
that guy
Powell,
I
but
just
I
know
think
that
it
guy's
might
Glenn
be
Powell's in it, yeah.
Daisy Edgar Jones, who is fantastic in whatever she does. So yeah, they'll be very very attractive and very watchable together. So yeah,
I'm sure yeah, that one will be that'll be a home release for me. That'll be a home release for me.
release
Probably.
straight to DVD in Luke's world.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta be picky about what I go to the cinema to see
What will
because
you go and see? What will you go and see at the cinema in the next couple of months then?
next couple of months, probably nothing. Genuinely. I recently went and saw Godzilla -1, which was fantastic.
Is that the one with Dan Stevens?
No.
Oh. Hmm.
Minus Godzilla -1 is the Japanese movie that just
Oh, there's a new Godzilla one that's got King Kong in it.
yeah, not that one. Good God, not
Oh,
that one.
okay.
No, no, no. I will not be going to the cinema to see that.
Well,
Um
my son might like that one, so I might go to cinema see that.
Yeah, I mean, that one will be like your typical nonsense,
Yeah.
turn your brain off, like legit turn your brain off kind of movie. But yeah, no, I'm quite picky. I'm quite picky. So if I'm gonna spend the time and the money, I'm like I've got to really believe in what I'm seeing. Otherwise, I'm like, I'll wait for it to be because the cinema nearby releases stuff about a month later. So I'm like, I can just if I can wait a month, I can wait a month to see Deadpool and all that kind of stuff. And also the other problem, and it obviously this doesn't really affect like the Marvel movies, but I will say one of the big problems this last year with going to the cinema is I'm really done with 3 hour long movies. Um American Fiction, a sweet 2 hours. A sweet
Is
two
it?
hours.
See, that's a good yeah.
Like I loved Oppenheimer, but I admit 3 hours, it's too long.
Yeah.
I've I have, Killers of the Flower Moon lined up to watch, but I'm like, again, it's like 3 or 4 hours, so I haven't been able to do that. I had to watch Babylon in, like, 3 different segments because I have things to do. Um, you know? So, yeah, again, like, even, like, stupid movies this summer, like The Flash, like, why was that 3 hours? Why was Mission Impossible 3 hours? These movies didn't need to be 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Mission Impossible, I did go and see that at the cinema, and I didn't fall asleep in it, so it must have been quite good, I think, because I was in those lying down chairs as well, and that,
Oh, wow,
that's
there you go.
recipe for disaster.
There you
But
go.
I did actually stay awake through the whole thing, so it
Yeah.
must have been
I
quite
mean,
good.
I didn't love Mission Impossible, like, but it does keep my attention, mostly. It could have been better than what it was, but I've
Yeah.
talked about Mission Impossible more than enough,
No,
and
no,
it'll
no,
it'll
we won't
just
go there.
it'll
We
just
won't go there.
trigger it'll just
Yeah,
trigger
we've
Frank.
chatted quite a lot already, I think.
We have. So yeah, but no, this was good fun. I look forward to seeing what happens with some of this stuff, with these awards, see who wins and who doesn't. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I will watch American Fiction and tell you what I think of it.
you should. You should. I having seen that, I'm like, I'm going to be championing that movie because I loved every bit of it. Legit. I went in knowing nothing, which also helped. And then was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh my god, this is a movie about an author and academic,
Yeah,
and
but
I
normally
totally
that doesn't work in its favor
no, but it
because
does here.
normally I can't stand
I
any
know.
film that has a writer
Yeah,
writing a book because,
yeah.
it's all bollocks.
Yes,
And
I totally agree. I totally agree, and I love that. I love that they did it well, and it's one of the few books that, or one of the few films that do it well. It is also based off a book called Eraser, I think.
okay,
And I've purchased that, so that will
okay,
come tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to reading that. But yeah, so it's that one has definitely sold me. So yeah, very interested in that.
cool.
Sam, do you want to tell people where they can find you on social media if they want to come
Oh,
and
if they
harass you
want to
about your thoughts on Saltburn and Barbie and
yeah,
Jacob Ellerdy?
take a lordy. Um, I am on Twitter and I don't remember now. Twitter and I have a website and Instagram as Sam Holland Books,
There you
and
go.
that is me.
Go follow Sam Holland on Sam Holland Books on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, but I'm
And
not. I'm not that. I'm not that. What's the, oh, it's a
controversial,
Friday night. I haven't got any words.
controversial, maybe.
Controversial
There you go.
on
There you go.
any social media.
Yes, I'm the one who says dumb shit on my Twitter.
Yeah, I like to follow you and then comment on whatever you're whinging about on Twitter. Which is
I'm
why we
think
get into this problem on a Friday night. But
exactly. I'm like, maybe I should whinge less. I don't know, but I find it fun. But I'm also thinking like, man, I'm probably like annoying people with some of my whinging, but
God forbid.
who cares? Who cares? Who cares? But anyway, people in the chat, Frank, Phil, anyone else who was listening, thanks for hanging out with us. I will be back at some time with some other live discussion about some stuff. Who knows? I don't know when, but you'll know when I know. See you later, people. See you later.